Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and today we join a bruised and battered High King Diarmid after slaying a boar in the last episode. And now his attentions turn towards the hosting of a great tournament. Probably a recital in the Kingdom of Ireland, the first tournament that the kingdom will ever hold. I would like to get some more raiding done. We spent a long time trying to get the development up so that we could raid areas. And the other thing that I'm going to do, finally, after all this time, here is Connacht. Here is Alil. Retract Vassal. And I'm going to retract Oriel. So he will accept, by the looks of it, 100%. He's going to lose 40 opinion with us, and all subjects will lose 5 opinion because this is an active tyranny. So I'm going to do this in Connacht. I'm going to retract that vassal. And while we wait for that, I will click on Ned Friok. That's a bit of a problem. Would Ned Friok find out secrets about himself? I was going to send Ned Friok to Munster, which is ruled by Ned Friok, to find some secrets and try and get a hook on him. We'll see what way things go with Connacht. And we won't see what way things go with Connacht. To the impressive King Diarmid of Ireland, I call on you to honour our alliance. I have no idea who you are. He's fighting somebody in Nordic Britannia Prima. So here's our allies. I've been called into a lot of wars that it's totally unnecessary for me to be in. Do you know what? It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that we might actually need to contribute to this one. So we will accept. So we might as well concentrate on the northern part of Scotland. Here is a rally point that was set when we had to defeat some rebels, possibly from this region. Actually, I'm not too sure, so I'm going to move that, and we will raise our forces. So poor old Alil has accepted, and we don't really have much time to do a huge lot. We can see a hefty force that I wasn't totally prepared for moving down towards us. I actually thought the larger of the two armies was further south. So I just moved them back in case they were coming for us. I'm not too sure where they're going to go. We'll let them continue off down in that direction. Our son Patrick has come of age. He is actually betrothed to the ruler of the Outer Hebrides. They grow up so fast. Here in Ulster, we have a very angry divil. He wants Oriel. He wants a seat in the council. If you stopped being useless, you might have gotten one. And we refused him something. I have no idea what we refused him. But I am going to grant him Oriel. Now, don't be bold. Don't be bold. Don't go taking land off of the young child. So we've sorted out the borders of Ulster, finally. And the next thing I wanted to do was sort out the borders of Connacht by revoking Ivonia from Munster. And here is Ned Friok, our former spy master, and he has left that position because he is now incapable. So I'm going to reorganize the whole thing a bit. I'm going to move our steward. He's doing a good job, but I'm going to move him to spy master. And is he any good for spy master? Wait, no, why were you telling me to put him as my spy master? He's useless. We're going to put Marcellius as our spy master. So I don't need to move anyone around. Why was he at the top of the list? And so Marcellius is going to take over as our spy master, and I'm going to have him find secrets in Thomond. So considering how much of a divil Ned Friok is, it's entirely possible that we'll find some secrets on him, and we might be able to use that to revoke Ivonia without it being an active tyranny. Well, do you know what this... Oh, this is bad. I was going to say this isn't the worst. This is bad. So, what has she done? We've formed an alliance with her somehow. I'm not too sure how we've done that. She has made herself my marshal. So, I gave her a weak hook on the condition that she converted to Insular Christianity, and she has now made herself my marshal. We have also somehow formed an alliance. I'm not too sure about the alliance, how she's pushed that through. Damn you to hell. I warned you the last time that you would have been in the best thing that you could have done was allowed that weak hook to lapse. Well, you fool. So here's our new council with Chiefess Enya. Absolutely useless serving as marshal. At the very least, she didn't try and take the spymaster position. And we've just gotten a pop-up that Faelcar has finished converting Thomond to Insularism. And what I'm going to do, you know what? If we can take Desmond, if we can convert Desmond to Insular Christianity, the entire island will be converted to some form of Christianity. We will have Chalcedonianism in Leinster and Ormond, but the entire rest of the country will be Insular Christian. We will have driven out Gaelic paganism, and we could then, in 3 years' time, turn our attention possibly to trying to convert the Inner Hebrides. I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can just send Faelcar there to try and start converting that region, but that would be pretty much the next goal. But we would have completed the conversion of Ireland to Christianity of some form or another. We can see the major Scottish forces moving south, and they're going to engage with our allies, who we're not, I won't say we're not helping. That's going to be our problem, is trying to push quickly for the capital. I've put all the forces together under the command of Carl. We will switch to a siege engineer and see if we can possibly siege down these regions quickly. I could get you to go in there first. Nope. I could, but I don't want to lose the troops. Oh god. We get a new lifestyle perk. We're also being told that somebody at court is plotting against my son and heir, Diarmid. We really do have to stop the villain behind this. Looks like it's going to be a bloodbath. Down here, the forces came in piecemeal against our ally, so we should be left alone, by and large, to mop up. They're going to send that broken army up, and they'll probably run into us at some stage. So High King Diarmid's health is not exactly in the best of conditions. It's not the worst. He's doing fine. Look at that for a black eye. That boar did damage to him. We're going to go for anatomical studies. Court physician treatments have better outcomes. I'll probably try and get this whole thing done, but next, most likely, will be... He doesn't gain a lot of stress. He doesn't have much need for restraint at the moment. We'll probably go in this direction. We're now in a position to ship our son, Patrick, off to the Outer Hebrides to cement this marriage. So she has gladly accepted. So Marcellius has finished his task in Munster. I think he's having another go around to discover something. He has uncovered a secret that's of no use to me. I might very well be bringing him back to have this woman killed. I think we might be forgetting about Munster for a while because she is utterly incompetent. Well, a couple of different things have happened. We've managed to take a prisoner. We've taken Paw's pelt. A very fine tanned hide of Chiefess Morcanta's beloved cat, Paw's, preserved to honour her dear friend and companion. And I was talking about the fact that I thought we'd have to replace him as our steward. But he's after dying. So was he also... He was also our missionary. That's a bit problematic. Here, however, is our daughter-in-law, if I am correct. And stewardship isn't the worst. I think it's probably the best that we have at the moment, so we'll assign her to that position. That gets her onto the council. She wanted a seat on the council. She was given out about it, so there you go. Have a seat on the council. And we'll see if there is maybe a better place for her to increase the development of at the moment. We have a couple of interesting prisoners here, as we always do. Here's Bran. I've decided to ransom him out for the money. But he's possessed, and he's a member of a militarized holy order. So do you know what? I've just sent him out. Didn't force him to convert or anything like that. Here is Regni. The bad news is he's chaste. The good news is he's robust. So do you know what? For the fun of it, we'll see if we can demand his conversion and recruit him. And I've ransomed her back out, and I think we'll just demand your conversion. Right. Well, this is becoming problematic now. There is a conspiracy to kill one of my sons and one of my daughters. It's hardly Patrick that's planning all this. We must stop the villain behind this. Bridget has agreed to convert, and Regni has agreed to join the court. 5 months until he discovers another secret. I'm going to leave him there. I'm going to leave him there and hope that nobody gets murdered in my court. And then I'm bringing him back to try and figure out who's doing this. Oh god, no, it's not Pangerbon, is it? I feel absolutely terrible doing this. Because what will Pangerbon think if they see it? But then again, if Pangerbon is planning these assassinations, I'm going to put Paul's pelt in a place of honor. Okay, you can barely see it. And I might very well return it if anybody comes asking for it. So what exactly is going on here? The ruler of Carrick is offering a truce and 50 quid. Sure, absolutely. A couple of things have happened all at once. For a very long time, this number was at 50% and then dropping, and it reached about 34%. I thought there was some anarchy going on. It's just hit 100%, so I don't think we're going to finish the Siege of Ross. The other thing is that my spy master has discovered another uninteresting secret in Munster, so I'm going to have to recall him. Let's put him on disrupt schemes. So there you go, the clash is over. I don't know if we actually got anything other than a pelt. Well, there's not a lot I can do. Stupid is as stupid does. I told, what's his name? Owen, not to be bold. I told him not to go taking land off of Oriel. And look what he's doing. Look what he's doing to this poor child. Poor Demasuk. Oh wait, no, Demasuk is the one who started this. So Demasuk, you bought this on yourself. There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to force him to surrender. You bought this on yourself, you moron. And we're being told that Nad Friach, the evil of Munster, is near death. So do you know what we're going to do? We're going to try and push him over the edge. We will retract. He gave Evonia to somebody. So I'm going to try and retract Evonia, which is going to again cause problems with all of our vassals. But they're fine. And the poor lad, he thinks it's unjust. Our standing with him falls, but he has allowed us to retract Evonia. This lad's gone into a big negative penalty. We will grant him a vassal. And that should make him happy again. And there we go. From what I can gather, the borders are finally some way coherent. Other than the fact that Connacht controls a chunk of Scotland. Here is our poor niece Ovluck, and it looks like her sister has forced her to renounce all of her claims to Leinster before allowing her out of prison. She's actually a better marshal than her sister. I'm going to invite her to court. Now, I've just checked in Leinster, we have about a 23% chance to murder Enya. So I'm going to have to, and it goes up to about 37 if I devote my spy master to that task. So I might very well, in Diarmaid's final years, to hell with his health, he might actually abandon his current lifestyle and actually become a schemer, all with the goal of assassinating Enya and getting rid of her as his marshal. Today, truly, the greatest warrior the kingdom has ever known has returned to the arms of the Lord. Pangerbone is not as young as he once was, and as he crawls into my lap, I can feel him trembling. I gently stroke his white fur and listen to him purr long into the night, but as silence falls, I know that he won't wake again. I will make sure that you will forever be by my side. We will immortalize Pangerbone. So here in the court, we're going to do a bit of redecorating. I'm going to move the shield. So we're going to go for small ornament, and I'm going to put the shield over there. I'm going to move the skull to here. And staying nice and close to us, we will put up, so that's Paw's pelt, which is a pelt that we just took in Scotland, which belongs to a cat. So we now have the pelts of two separate cats, two masterwork cat pelts. But up here on this wall behind us, we are going to place Pangerbone's pelt. And the death of Pangerbone is perhaps making us feel a bit guilty at the seizure of Paw's pelt. And we look to return it to its rightful owner. Here is Paw's owner, who passed away, but before they did, they gifted the pelt to this ruler. It was then seized from them, and it was inherited. It was seized by somebody else. It was inherited again, and it was eventually inherited by the wife of the original, well, the secondary owner, who we took it from. So I was looking down through the list of people. I was going to return it to her children, and then I was looking at this guy and trying to figure out who his children were, and I was going to gift it to him. So do you know what? We're going to gift it right back to the person that we took it from, because I think they are probably the most deserving of it. Diarmid might be wrathful and deceitful, but he's not a monster. Pangerbone meant a lot to him, and I'm sure he feels pity for Paw's owner and the journey that Paw's pelt has had. So like I said, he's not a monster. Anyway, let's force our niece to marry somebody much older than her against her will. Here is Regni. She's not having a great old time. She's a bit melancholic. That's probably from all that time in prison. And I'm going to organise a matrilineal marriage to keep House E. Hinchley going, so we'll send that proposal. Well, it's not much of a proposal. And finally, we are in a position, after all this time and after messing it up the last time, to send out missionaries to spread the word not of Insular Jesus, but to spread the word of Pangerbone. To prove that I am a devout insularist, I intend to use the resources at my disposal to gather a number of faithful missionaries to spread the truth across the world. This is the first attempt that we are making since the reign of Conal Crithna, all those years ago. Once he began to establish Insular Christianity on the island, he sent out a small group of missionaries, but Diarmid has established a mighty purse, mostly through raiding, exclusively through raiding. We have nothing, we have no economy. And we're going to make an attempt. There's a 22% chance that we'll make a 26% chance to convert a chieftain somewhere. And then we have a 44% chance of converting a king, 22 of a duke, or 11 of a count. So basically, the less money that you donate, the higher the first option is, the higher the chance of the first option. And there's a 40% chance that nothing will happen, if I'm reading that correctly. Well, that they will attempt to convert peasants. So down here on the big spend, a 22% chance that they will attempt to convert peasants. So, missionaries of the Kingdom of Ireland, go and spread the word of insularism and Pangerbone. And I suppose this is the thing with missionaries, you just send them out and you've no idea whether or not they're going to be successful. So we're going to send out another type of missionary. Missionaries with swords, looking for money. We will put them raiding. And we're going to take a look at what's going on over in this direction. This is where... Look at the big money. Look at the big money. Show me the big money. There we go. So we're going to head for the south of England. This is an area that we've hit many times before. It's already sieged down again or raided down again. So I think we're going to land here and move eastwards. And we have just received news that Ned Frioch in Munster has died. What did he actually die from? Died of a seizure. And he has been succeeded by... Oh, God help us, who's actually succeeded here? Welsh Nachdi. Do you know what? That's a good number. That's a good looking number. Marcellus has done a great job, but to keep this lad happy, Ned Frioch was our spymaster, and now his son is going to serve as the new spymaster, and hopefully figure out who's trying to kill our son Diarmid. A Leviathan, it behooves a king to spend time at sea with the salty air in his face and a fine vessel beneath his feet. Lads, that man is sick, he is wounded, and he is drunk. He should not be let on a ship. What a grand quarry. A Leviathan has risen up out of the sea. It's a prowess challenge. 25% chance that we slaughter the whale. 74% chance that we become severely injured. There's a safe treatment. Like, he's drunk. He's drunk and he's a hunter. And he killed it. Well, fair play to him. A 25% chance that he was going to kill that whale. He has gained back most of the money spent on that mission. And our daughter-in-law has had a child. I'm not too sure who these people are. There's Diarmid. So a daughter, Kovla. Should call her Leviathan. Should call her Pangerbone. It's rare enough for me to have some time alone in Tara, but it does happen. Relatively alone, that is. My minders are within earshot, but far enough away to give me a little space as I ride through my lands. So we find a secluded spot. The waters here are probably safe, surely worth a revisit. So I'm not too sure, is that maybe an area that we've now kind of discovered that we can visit again as we're marching around the place. Our eyesight is going, probably because his right eye is still swollen shut from that fight with the boar, and I think his left eye is swollen shut from a fight with a Leviathan. So we could sell everything that's impossible to read. We could spend 50 quid that we got inside in the belly of the Leviathan and get some learning lifestyle experience, or give that weirdo a weak hook. We will buy these magic seeing stones. Now, doing so has given us a new learning lifestyle perk. Stress gain, restraint, or wash your hands. We'll go with wash your hands. Our armies continue raiding around the place. Court Grandeur has hit level 4. It's going to be March, I think, before we can change to a new lifestyle focus, or to the skullduggery focus, which is what I was thinking about doing. So I'm not too sure what we'll actually do now. We bring them back in that direction. This is Katrina and Cornwall. So they have a daughter, Martha. May you grow to be strong and wise. And we are known for our dedication to insularism, no doubt. Spending money, sending missionaries out in strange directions. Fergus, our son Fergus, has learned Latin. So we're going to lose 100 troops, 175 if we go in that region. Can I get you to come this way? We'll just keep you to the south, so then I don't want to lose those forces. And we've lost the trait wounded for the first time in a very long time. And there we go. The news has come in that Failcar has finished converting Desmond, the last outpost on the island of Ireland of Gaelic paganism. Okay, well, never mind. Desmond is still Gaelic pagan. And Failcar still continues his attempts to convert the region. I think it's going to take another 3 years. We're actually being told about an empty court position. What has happened over here? Marcellus will go back in for now. What has happened? What have you people done? Oh god, what is going on here? Right, well, here is the previous ruler. Weil Schnachti Mach Nedfriach. And he has, for some strange reason, abdicated in favour of his daughter, Dervla. We may have heard that name before. Oh look, it's our son Patrick. So she's now the ruler of Munster, which means that the Enail are actually going to effectively take control of Munster now at some stage. I have no idea what this lad is at, but whatever. You would have been a good spy master. You would have been a good spy master. I don't know what you're up to, you fool. Look, we'll just continue sieging places down. It's the only thing I know. It's the only thing I know. And as we raid down Sussex, we receive the terrible news that our antiquarian Sheila has passed away. Grand tournament? Did somebody say board games? Travel time is 4 months. We must leave in 20 days. We will leave immediately. For our journey to Brittany, we're going to mostly be at sea, but I have changed the route ever so slightly, that on the return leg, we're going to travel to Cornwall and gain 200 intrigue lifestyle experience. And I'm taking experienced captains and mercenary guards, because we do actually have a couple of areas that are a bit troublesome. So I'll keep the guards. We have the money, and we're getting more of it. So with 200 intrigue experience coming in, now would be a great time to switch to the skullduggery focus and get that +3 intrigue. The problem is, as we approach a board game tournament, now would not be a good time to get rid of that +3 learning stat. So we're going to stay there on the learning lifestyle focus until we return from the board game tournament. Can Diarmid achieve his second great success to equal Gareth, our great wrestler, or was his first victory just a fluke? Will he be able to win now that Pangerbone is gone? Marcellus is still trying to figure out who's trying to kill our son. He's instead discovering that our daughter, Welmudda, doubts insular doctrine. Oh god. We arrive at the tournament grounds, and all cower in fear at the sight of the greatest king ever to play Magic the Gathering. I can't wait for it to start. Now, what are we going to do here? Are we going for the tournament grounds to practice? Well, that would improve our progress to victory and guarantee victory. We could go and sabotage some people, glue their decks together, even though the last time I did that, it didn't work out very well. We're going to go to the tournament grounds. Okay, what kind of a board game requires falcons? Somebody is racing falcons. If anyone knows what type of a board game requires actual live falcons, please tell me, because I'd love to play it, and I'd also love to know how it's actually sent out in the mail. We could improve our falconeer skill, but what I'm going to do is, it must take a lot of preparation to do this. So our board game progress to victory will increase moderately because of a falcon. Thanks, falcon. I was trying to figure out where exactly in the world we were, and then I saw London. And it has 32 gold. We have captured the father of the King of Kent, from what I can understand. I think we've captured his father and mother. We have indeed. So this is problematic. Which one of you wants to get out first? So we'll ransom you off for 25. And when we'll be able to ransom him off then for another 25. Not too shabby. Look at this. This is absolutely cruel. You are facing one of the greatest minds ever. The only reason that isn't 100% is because Diarmid is heavily intoxicated. So the contestants take their places at the gaming tables. We could place a bet. Oh, look at that. Count Ricard. He keeps popping up, the absolute devil. That's the lad that won the archery contest. There's an actual bishop. He's allowed to move on a chess table. If it's chess we're playing, he's allowed to actually get up on the table and start moving around. I'd expect him to have a fairly high learning, so we're going to place a bet. And we're obviously going to bet on ourselves. So, Ricard is the underdog in this. I'm going to place a bet on myself. The table flips. The table flip was great. With an almighty twack, sending the fickle pieces flying. Yes, you win, King Diarmid. Happy? Yes, I am. So, we knock them out. They lose prestige, or we would lose prestige. No, you lose prestige. And onwards to the next round. We're just 1 point short. Ricard, I think, has made it true. The devil. There's that bishop. There's the guy that we're up against. And Ricard of Claremont. So we're going to keep going, absolutely. This is only the second time ever that we've gotten past the first round of anything. So my game against Gritanius is going poorly. He is playing at a level I wouldn't have thought possible. I notice his eyes keep darting into the crowd and seems to be looking directly at a figure standing almost directly behind me. There's loud coughs from the audience as well. Every once in a while they are performing subtle hand gestures and moving their lips, no doubt giving Gritanius instructions. I don't think we've ever come out of a tournament without being stressed to the gills. We do not have the diplomacy to make the judge believe us. However, our moves could be just as unpredictable. There's still a 4% chance that we will fail for the same amount of stress. We will focus on the game, laser focus on the game, and our vastly superior learning will see us through. The soft clicks of moving pieces disturbs the cam. We are deep into the in-game now. I am winning by some margin, provided I can press this advantage hard. Victory is surely on the horizon. Playing it safe has always worked well for Diarmid. There's a 91% chance that nothing bad will happen. However, he pushed his luck with the boar. He pushed his luck with the Leviathan. Plus, it's a 69% chance, the best percentage that there is possibly, that something good will happen. Whereas here, 9% chance that we'll get a slight decrease, 18% chance that we'll get a moderate decrease. Now is the time for a daring move. And it's paid off. This is a man who believes greatly that he is favoured by the board game playing gods. Another victory, and we knock Gritanius out. It would have been fantastic to have gone through to the final and to have some revenge on Count Ricard, but we are now playing against somebody who's actually cosplaying as one of the pieces on the board. That is their level of dedication. So a fine contest, but Carlos is through to the final. A man of learning, but we've a 78% chance of success. I was, ooh, very close to clicking that. I can do this. So already he is crying into the outfit that he bought on Amazon. The silence is deafening. Clearly, the man want to win. Once the idea of distracting him pops into my head, it is hard to dispel. Do you know what? We tried to distract Ricard as well in the archery, and it didn't go so well. And indeed, back then we also felt a tickle coming on. There's a 5% chance that we're going to cough so hard that we will actually affect our own game playing skills. But there's a 46% chance that it will affect Carlos. We could get coughing fit, which is going to give us a minor health penalty. Our legacy will not be coughing. Our legacy will be 2 board game championships. I feel a tickle coming on. Carlos takes no mind, so that was a 54% chance. The soft click of the moving pieces disturbs the cam. I am winning by some margin, provided that I can press this advantage hard. Victory is surely on the horizon. What is Diarmid going to do at this stage? Again, it's the exact same. It's the exact same option as before. It's an 18% chance that something bad is going to happen. We can't say no to a 69% chance. We will make a daring move. The God move that will cement Diarmid's position as one of the greatest board game players of all time. And there we go. I can't help but allow my visage to crack a moment and smile as my opponent falls perfectly into the trap I had laid. A few moves later, I have pressed the opening into an advantage, and it is Diarmid's second board game victory. As London burns, Diarmid is flipping the table. He's up on top of the table, jumping and leaping about. He's somehow gotten his hands on a bottle of wine. It is anarchy, it is chaos. I have proven my worthiness beyond doubt. And we won the bet. That's the most important thing. We won the bet. And for the second time in his career, he is a Grandmaster. And he's going to receive a prize when the tournament ends. And everyone becomes a tabletop player. So actually, again, this Grandmaster role... So it's actually going to replace the learning if we switch to the intrigue, and his Hastelauder experience goes up. A second back-to-back board game victory for Diarmid. And he's gotten himself a ring. So I've fulfilled my goal of winning a contest, and I look forward to the next one. A great occasion. So 600 prestige to the holder. And finally, we've managed to siege down London. So London was being sieged down throughout the entirety of that contest. We will finish the grand tournament, and Diarmid now becomes the owner of the prize ring. 20% fertility? What kind of a board game contest was this? And so Diarmid is now in a position to equip a trinket in all of the slots. There is the prized ring. There is the brooch that Sheila, who passed away recently, made for us. There is a small religious carving. I think we bought that somewhere. And there is the statue of Bridget that was given to our grandfather for taking part in a pilgrimage. And I believe the other prize coin that we got for winning the last tournament, I think, is on display in the court. We can actually go to the royal court. And it should be there. There we go. The prize brooch, which Diarmid won on his first tournament. Having raided London and a stretch of land across the south of England, I'm going to pull back the forces, send them back to Tara. It's entirely possible that they'll actually cross paths with Diarmid on his way back. And we will prepare for a great celebration, not alone of Diarmid's victory, but of the life of Pangerbawn as well. And just as we have arrived in Cornwall, and I think we've gained some intrigue experience, we come upon a small hut. Cornwall warns us that there could be bandits around, but the inhabitant Says that they are merely a hermit, and you must be a king. How fortunate. Please, tell me my future. The hermit takes a second before replying. He gets up and waits until I follow. There's some herbs scattered around and what seems to be a rudimentary bed. He turns to me when we're away from the entourage and, with an oddly deeper voice, replies, "The water shall pass, but you won't." How insightful. So we gain some piety and some stress, and we are actually heavily stressed out from that tournament. One of our scouts seems to be completely lost, but thankfully we have been playing a lot of GeoGuessr of recent. I know exactly where we are, 99%. The success chance, 0%, that we're going to mess up. So we're going to gain some prestige and danger experience gain. Ooh. So we have found the correct path and we are now snowbound. My god, we're never going to get out of Cornwall. So we could pay somebody 15 quid, which I think is probably... Do you know what? We'll get some. 62% chance that we get stuck. We're going to gain trait experience one way or another. It's just going to stretch out the journey a bit. And we actually succeeded. This man has been doing mighty work on GeoGuessr. So 11 trait experience in Wanderer. He is an experienced traveller, and what I think is possibly Diarmaid's last overseas tour comes to an end. 250 days he's been gone. Thank God I can go inside again, because I need a drink. Unfortunately, Pangerbon is no longer with us to relieve us of the perfect amount of stress that we have. So we will instead indulge in drink. We're going to lose some prestige, but that doesn't make a difference. Another cup and my shoulders relax a bit more. We've lost 29 stress. We're actually in a position to gain a new lifestyle learning perk, just as 244 prestige and 244 gold returns home. A bit late, and I was saying that I'd go next for Iron Constitution, but you know what? That decrease to the stress gain would have been very helpful to us there over the last while. We wouldn't have gained as much stress. And I think now Diarmaid will begin to organise the one and only thing he hasn't organised so far. We can't organise a grand wedding because you need to have somebody promised for that. Grand weddings, like I said, would not exactly have been a thing in Ireland until the arrival of the Normans, or kind of anything like the large-scale celebration of a wedding. So we're going to go with a grand tournament. Oh, do you know what? We're going to lose some stress. And we have our options. We can host it either in Tara or in Kildara. We will, of course, hold a grand tournament in Tara, and we're now given a choice of what we want to actually hold. And you could open up multiple slots and hold multiple different competitions. And we could go for... we can't go for melee or joust. We could go for a board game. We could go for wrestling to try and get a third championship win for Gareth. We could do some dueling or some horse racing. I think what we're going to do is we are going to challenge the contestants to write a poem that signifies the splendour and glory of both Pangerbon and Diarmaid the Dirty. We will hold a recital contest. Now we do have the option that we could, if we wanted to, just spectate. We are of course going to participate. We're going to be able to write the best poem about ourselves and about our beloved cat. We will continue. So we're able to invite guests. All guests have an opportunity to attempt to qualify. I'm not too sure why we can specifically pick a champion. Here is our half-brother Patrick. And he has a fairly... that's an alright learning skill. It's not great. There's Regni, but we'll pick Patrick as the champion. I'm not too sure what that actually does, but there he is. Or maybe are they saying that we're trying to secure his victory? I'm not entirely... Or he's a special guest. Yeah, we'll have our half-brother as a special guest. I have no idea what's going on there. Activity options. Simple pavilions. We will go for luxurious encampments. And splendid prizes. Famed or illustrious rarity. We're on the verge of bankrupting ourselves. I think it would be a bit silly if we require that much money to actually travel. We are on the verge of bankrupting ourselves with the amount of money that we're going to throw at this, but we are going to host the grandest grand tournament that has ever been held. And are we going to try and triumph? Do you know what? Absolutely. We'll try and triumph at our own grand tournament. Look, that's a man raring to go. He's full of porter, and he is raring to go. It's the grand tournament opening. Oh god, is this man actually in a fit position to open a tournament? Many have flocked to my grounds in Tara, no doubt they have, with the prizes that are on display, eager to prove their worth or simply enjoy the spectacle, and to honour Pangerbone and the greatest board game player that ever was. If I am to compete in the recital contest, I must ensure I will qualify. It will begin soon, there is no time to lose. So I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of disappointed with the contest participants. The ruler of Inishmaan has arrived. That's an area in Wales that we raided down quite a lot. Our daughter-in-law in Munster has shown up. Alil in Connacht, the ruler of Gwynedd. And Owen has shown up, oh god, her. And Owen has shown up from Ulster, so all of our vassals have shown up. Is that our uncle? That's our uncle. But I'm not seeing... yeah. It's mostly people from my own court. Do you know what the people Pangerbone care the most about? So we're currently outside the qualification threshold. There's 3 months until this thing begins, but we're going to try and go to the tournament ground. And I'm not sure, will this improve our chance of... Well, we're here now. Will it improve our chance of qualifying? Or should we have gone to the tent camps to sabotage people? So my champion, all of my champions stand assembled for the day's training, the recital training. It's like the Bene Gesserit with the word. Or the voice. The attendants, laden with kit, Con Mole, and myself, stand before them all. Champions! What you do not know, ask humbly to be taught. Or just Con Mole. Together we represent the king. Let us together prepare for our glories. So we could have Con Mole use the voice to defeat all of our champions. And he would gain a good chunk of military prowess and possibly a new nickname, but because we have the triumph intent, our knight scores increase moderately, our score increases moderately, and the champion of the serpent gains 25 glory, and that has pushed us into the qualifying. 6 dukes have arrived in Tara. A landless warrior has arrived. So because of all these people showing up, we're getting prestige. I think it's just people from our court that have shown up. That's somebody new. The Duke of Britannia Prima. And Geralt of the Isles. We're still in the qualifying chance, though. We're still in the qualifying chance. And a king has shown up. Tavern, dare to drink. Yeah, obviously. We have wrestled some of the greatest wrestlers that have ever lived. We have... Well, okay, we won't talk about the archery tournament. We have played board games, not against some of the greatest board game players that have ever lived, because we are the greatest board game player that has ever lived. We have defeated a boar. We have defeated a leviathan. This, undoubtedly, is the greatest challenge that has ever been extended to us. Somebody doesn't believe that we can handle our drink. Oh, really? Bring out the tankards. We have a 57% chance that we will drink Emer under the table. Our score decreases minutely. Or a 42% chance that we wake up a few hours later with a greatly decreased score. Bring out the tankards. And we did indeed manage to actually win the drinking tournament. This is it. We are on the path to victory. We're on the path to glory. And we have qualified for the recital contest, undefeated. The entrants mill about the main tent, warming up vocal cords and memorizing stanzas as the crowd fills the amphitheater. My champion, Patrick. What's what? My champion, Patrick what's what? It's time to show the world my skill. So we've qualified. Or I have a bet to place. Yeah, absolutely, I have a bet to place. So I can bet on myself. There is Katrina. I'm not the outside chance, at the very least. Patrick appears to be one of the outside chances. Gareth, the poor man, has entered the tournament and is the outside. He knows how to wrestle, but he doesn't know how to recite. And of course, can he even see the sheet of paper in front of him through that mask? And my son Diarmid. I'm going to bet on myself. I have a feeling that a lot of people are here who will be encouraged to drop out. I'm going to bet on myself. I wonder, is it that he's too drunk to say anything about himself? Or is he too shy to say anything about himself? We're up against Patrick, who we forced to enter the tournament. Wild cheers erupt from the gathered crowd as Patrick finishes their recital with a flourish and a bow. The only person who isn't whistling and clapping is, as it happens, myself. So what we can do is I'll show them that it's about delivery. So our score will increase moderately. There doesn't seem to be... Any of the other options don't seem to be great. So yeah, absolutely. We will... our score will increase moderately. It's because of our astute intellectual trait. So absolutely, we will take that option. So it doesn't look to have done brilliantly well. I open my mouth, it's dry. Oh God, my kingdom for a pint. We could shout that there is a three-headed donkey. It's a 44% chance that we will distract the crowd. Or our score decreases moderately. We're going to have to try desperately to distract the crowd. And our score decreases. Hasn't changed at all. It appears as though things are going poorly for us. Things are going very bad indeed. And as we step forward to deliver the final verse, we will appeal to a higher power. We will appeal to Pangerbone. I finish my final verse, but the crowd haven't waited for the ending. The cheers drowned out my words, flowers landing around me on the stage as I make my way off. I am winning. I don't know about that. One last verse. Our score increases greatly. It's saying intent achieved. Trumpets sound, the crowd clamours, competitors begin to assemble. The contest is over, and someone's moment in the sun is being readied. After many trials, some tribulation, so I presume Diarmid has been handed the results. In third place, Diarmid says, Gusty, or Gutsy even, High Chieftain Alil. Coming in second is Gareth, and that of course leaves... Oh my god, it's me! I've won! I knew I could win. My champion Patrick did not compete. I have proven my worthiness beyond doubt. I won. I actually won. Do you know what? That wasn't the greatest bout of contestants. I don't think Diarmid cares. This is a victory lap for Diarmid after all that he's achieved throughout his career. And his own son was one of the competitors. He has gained Iambic Virtuoso for 5 years to sit alongside his title as a Grandmaster. So Diplomacy plus 3 has to allow their trait experience has gone up by 10%. Gareth got some prestige for coming in second. And we gain even more prestige. And Alil gained Rhymer, so plus 1 Diplomacy. absolutely fantastic. Our poems about ourself and Pangerbone, our adventures, the skullduggery and connivingness of Pangerbone, they have gone down well in Tara. And for the third time in his career, Diarmid is victorious, having lost quite a lot of, I think it's 3 out of 6. I think it's a 50% win rate for him. 2 wrestling tournaments and an archery tournament he lost. 2 board game tournaments. And a recital that was all about him. I won. I actually won. Grand Tournament Conclusio. Conclusio? The problem is we don't have room for that ring we're after getting. The sun comes down on the final day of the tournament, and the massed crowds begin to disperse. I find myself ruminating over the results. I'm sure he does. He's probably ruminating over a pint. What a great occasion. Perhaps a few words, given that I am the host. A 56% chance that he's sober enough to say something, or a 44% chance that we spend some prestige. Absolutely. This man has not heard his own voice enough over the last couple of days. He has gained 75 prestige. And my champion, Conmol, is this Conmol the Younger? Conmol the Younger has taken the court physician as a lover. Look, don't ruin this day. Don't ruin my big day. Don't. This is my day. 150 prestige, 10 gold, iambic, virtuoso, 600 prestige, lost 44 stress, and becomes the owner of the prize ring. 0.3 prestige per month. Knight effectiveness goes up. Seduce scheme power and powerful vassal opinion. This is absolutely fantastic. Offered and claimed by King Diarmid as the prize in his recital contest. It is encircled by extracts from the Insular Scriptures. We will finish the grand tournament. And we put a lot of money into the prizes for that tournament, and they show. It is an illustrious trinket. 180 years of a life it has ahead of it. About 120, I think, for that famed trinket. I'm going to remove the small religious carving. And if I do that instead, there we go, look at this. For jewellery that Diarmid the Dirty has to his name. The development of the various regions of the Kingdom of Ireland have expanded greatly under Diarmid's rule. We have just discovered animal husbandry. We're being exposed to stonemasonry, but it doesn't really do anything for us, so we're going to focus on city planning. And it's unlikely at 28 years that Diarmid will ever see it enacted. We've received an update that our uncle, Connella, who created a bit of trouble for us, has passed away. And I believe that's his son. Has a very high diplomacy. Now, he is ill at the moment, but you know what? We will assign him to that position. Alil's a bit behind him. We'll assign Conal Crina, named after our grandfather. Those missionaries that we sent out a couple of years ago now at this stage, I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we have heard back from them. Today, the small group of missionaries who recently travelled to the court of Queen Zangmo returned from their journey. Joy was written across their faces. Their mission to the court was a success. Our investment in these missionaries' work has proven to be a resounding success, and there is no doubt that they were aided by God and Pangerbone. What have you done? What exactly have you done? How did you get over there? Well, there you go. That's another adherent to Insular Christianity. That's another family that we could arrange marriages with, the way we wouldn't be getting a piety penalty. Probably just a small bit outside our diplomatic range. Probably just a small bit outside the diplomatic range. And so, following news of the conversion of the Far East to Insular Christianity, the Southwest has followed. Failcar has hopefully, this time, finished the convert faith in County Task in Desmond. And if we take a look at the faiths, there we go. Some form of Christianity now holds supremacy throughout the island of Ireland. And you know what? We're not too far off on the timeline. If you've been following my Thrones of Britannia, Total War Thrones of Britannia playthrough, you'll have heard me mentioning that Diarmid, this Diarmid here, sitting on the throne, granted land to Columkill to build a church at Kells, or at least there's the legend is that he granted land for Columkill to build Kells, and Diarmid was the High King that Finian of Moyville complained to when Columkill copied a manuscript without his permission and tried to keep it. And Diarmid delivered the famous statement, "You wouldn't try to download a calf. To every cow its calf, and to every book its copy." And the legend is then that Columkill went into exile after this and was granted land by a distant cousin, the King of Dalriada, to found Iona. So we're in roughly the time period in which Christianity would have began to achieve kind of supremacy on the island. It's unclear when the island would have converted fully to Christianity, but when some of the Brehon laws come to be written down for the first time in the 700s, there are sections dealing with you should never allow a druid to be the guarantor of a contract. You should never enter into a contract with a pagan because they don't believe in God, so it's not binding. So the fact that the laws of the time had to make account of that would indicate that there were still outcroppings of paganism for a while yet to come. But Diarmid the Dirty has achieved the great goal, not alone of his grandfather, but the great goal of St. Patrick, of bringing Christianity to the island of Ireland. And he has managed to deck out quite a throne room in the process. So I'm going to call it there with the playthrough. I've had tremendous fun. And I've had tremendous fun playing as Diarmid. I've had tremendous fun with the character that he has become. And I think it's mainly because of the tournaments. The great hunt in which he killed that boar. His board game record. Garrett's wrestling record. The fact that we managed to recruit Garrett from a rival court at the tournament that he won. I've had tremendous fun with the Tours and Tournaments DLC. I know it's been out now for a while, but this was my first actual playthrough of it, and yeah, I've had great fun with it. I think it adds a tremendous amount to the game, and it gives you a lot more to do, and I've heard people say this, it gives you a lot more to do than just conquer. And the actual conquest of the island in this playthrough proceeded fairly slowly because I was just having so much fun going to tournaments. So really enjoy that. Disappointed that we didn't get to have a legendary hunt. That is Diarmid's one great sadness. He complained to his father that there was a legendary beast around in the midst of a civil war. There was a legendary beast around in the earliest days of his reign. And unfortunately, it's now going to be left to his son to hunt down a legendary beast. But the Kingdom of Ireland does have one legendary artifact, and that is, of course, the hide of poor old Pangar Bón, which will hang on the walls, and maybe the King of Connacht will die on it someday and go straight to heaven. Maybe legends like that will arise. So there you go. I've had tremendous fun with this. I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this series.